Nicolandria Nation, we are up, 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 up. You didn't think that I was going to leave you hanging and not come back to talk about my favorite couple that I predicted since episode 1, did you? Did you? Everybody, welcome back to the show. It's your host, Leah, for Positively Uncensored, your favorite reality TV and interview podcast. I took myself a little bit of a break. I restored my mental health. I chatted Love Island with my friends. I got back into the fun of things. And here I am to recap episodes 31 and 32 for you after Nick and Alandria have coupled up. I knew this was coming. If you aren't following me on TikTok, get your phone out if you're on TikTok and go follow me. I called this since day number 1, before we even got into the season, preseason predictions, just going off the poster. I said, if we base it off of last year's poster, then Nick and Alandria, who are standing next to each other, they will end up together. Fast forward an odd 30 episodes. Here we are. Here we are. Now, to get here, there was quite a few things that had to happen. Alandria and Taylor had to come to an end. Nick and Sierra had to come to an end. They just closed things off. Nicolandria Nation was down by 5 at least. Okay, they had just closed things off. But Sierra left the villa. We got the announcement, episode 30, in the same fashion that we got the Alyssa announcement. She was kicked off the show, to our knowledge, for the use of saying slurs towards the Asian community, which was found on her social media profile. It was found on her posts. It was found in her stories. There was also an alleged interaction between her and one of her followers who told her that what she posted was inappropriate. Her response was less than accountable when she responded to that person. So Sierra is out of the villa. Zach K was on live the other day and he was like, I'm not supposed to say what happened. And then he proceeded to say what happened. And it sounds like as a group, they were told that Sierra said something offensive on the outside, which broke protocol, so she left the villa. But yeah, they know that something offensive was said. I don't think that they were told what. And I think that we see Nick just accept that their relationship is done. She left the villa. He knows that she's left the villa for a problematic reason. I think that that makes him feel less bad about now pursuing one of her friends in the villa that he's liked since day number 1. So as stated, Taylor ended up pairing up with Clark. Sierra left the villa. Nick ended up telling Alandria that he was interested in her, that she's made his experience, that she's always had his back, that they've had similar journeys, different fonts this entire time, that he feels more manly around her, and he lets her know that he's attracted to her and he's trying to pursue things. That's how the episode ends. It was up to the girls to decide who they were going to couple up with. Thank God Alandria coupled up with Nick. For just a couple of seconds, I was worried that she was going to couple up with Zach K, whom she said, am I tripping? Isn't he attractive? In one of her confessionals. And I'm like, you're tripping. You're tripping. Couple up with Nick. Couple up with Nick. So I'm so glad to see that come to fruition. Let's get into episode 31. Their first official day together, maybe second day together. The couples wake up to a loud, obnoxious sound. Abby Lee Miller voice. It's the babies. And if you're like, what is this challenge? I know that you haven't watched Love Island UK. I know that this is the only season that you've watched. No shade in your game, but this is not new. This is not new. In fact, it's one of my favorite challenges that they do, and I'm glad that they brought it back. So each couple wakes up to a little bundle of joy in a basket at the foot of their bed that the stork dropped off. Coincidentally, 2 couples had sex, we think, the night before. So talk about immediate consequences. That's a trip out. You have sex and wake up to a little one at the end of your bed. Of course, these are fake babies. This is the challenge, sort of like what you do in child development in high school or life skills. I know I did that at least. But the baby, they have to take care of for the next 24 hours, and we get to see how each of them are as parents. I think that Iris and Shelly were the only couples, like, so Iris and Pepe, Shelly and Ace are the only people who had twins. But somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I enjoyed this entire thing. Ace is hilarious. I don't care. Ace is so funny. Shelly is so funny. Shelly wants twins, okay? And talk about somebody who knows her well. Her social media handler, the person running her account, is clearly her best friend. As soon as this happened, she's like, Shelly wants twins in real life. And then Shelly ends up saying that on the episode. She knows her friend. Shelly and Ace named their twins Chase and Apollo. Alandria and Nick initially land on the name Hilton for their little bundle of joy, but then they find out that it's a boy. So they switch up the name named after his daddy, Nick's middle name, Marcel. This was just like a fun episode. I saw a lot of discourse online saying that this felt like a filler episode. This is how Love Island is supposed to feel. It's supposed to feel fun. It's supposed to feel light. It's supposed to feel like all of the couples actually like each other. It's supposed to be a good time. And there have been several individuals who have contributed to that not being the case throughout the entire season. So the dads really, the quote unquote dads really have fun in this experience. Chris leads yoga, like a mommy and me yoga for all of the couples, and Huda's up front with him. And I think it was Taylor who initially decided to do like an obstacle course for the dads with the babies to see who can get through it without making their baby cry. Okay, so getting into Chris's yoga experience. We don't see this, but I guess Huda is the one who grabs all of the yoga mats out and sets them up. And then Chris leads this exercise. And as he's getting ready, he asks every single couple if they have something to get off of their chest, and then he gets into the exercise, skipping Huda. Now Huda is sitting there and she's like mouthing or says that's fucked twice, 3 times. I don't know if Chris hears this and ignores her. I think he does. I think he just goes right past her. I don't think he wanted to ask her if she has something to get off her chest because that's his partner. I feel like he wasn't sure if she would actually use that moment to have like an argument in the middle of yoga. That's just my first thought. But he skipped her. She was feeling some type of way about that. I had to rewind this scene as well because initially I thought she was mad at Taylor and Clark because he said that his daughter was going to go to the moon or something and have all of these accomplishments. And I was like, oh, like, did he say something offensive towards Huda? But no, I think it was the fact that Chris skipped her, which she says later. I'm sorry, it's just exhausting. Huda, no matter who she's coupled up with, ends up being upset about something and making things awkward for everybody else. Having been on enough group trips with couples and couples experiences with people who do that and make things awkward for the rest of the group, I'm just gonna call it for what it is. Now, during daddy daycare, which is Ace, Taylor, and the guys with the babies and doing their little Olympics, okay? Huda's watching from up top with the rest of the girls, but she's not enjoying it like the rest of the girls, okay? Huda is treating this like it is a breathing, living, crawling baby. Like she is treating this like it is a real baby. She's watching them run through the bean bags and they have to change the baby's onesie and put them into a new clothes and then walk back with them briskly. She's like, don't rip that off of her. She's screaming. Like, don't rip that off of her head. Like, she's screaming. It's a fake fucking baby. It's a fake baby. It's fake. It's fake. I understand that initially waking up, that's where I can give it to Huda. That's a little bit of PTSD. Yep. Initially waking up and hearing a baby crying or hearing the babies crying, I get it. Okay. But this is a fake baby. Then Chris changes the outfit and she's like, I don't like that. Like she yells from the top. She just can't help herself. She really can't help herself. And something changes after she's intimate with somebody. And I have said this in a loving way since day one. Huda shouldn't be on this show. She should be in therapy. She deserves to have a partner who cares about her. She deserves to be in a healthy relationship. The way she moves right now is not healthy. Okay. So she needs to be in therapy to unpack some things. And I'm sure that this is not entirely her fault. I'm sure that some of the way that she is reaction to the people who have harmed her in the past relationships that she's been in. Nonetheless, that's an explanation for her behavior and not an excuse. Okay. The way that she just feels like she has to cut her partner down publicly in front of other people, like she just can't help herself. She has to. It's just too much. It's just too much. Okay. So this was a game. This was supposed to be fun. This was the second thing in one day that was supposed to be fun. I'm sure that this has to be taxing for other people in the villa. Chris has a conversation with Huda after all of this is unfolded. And he's like, can I ask you something? What do I do that makes you in a bad mood? Like, what do I do? And she tells him, well, you skipped me earlier during your yoga thing, and then you didn't put away my yoga mat, and it's just like a small thing, but I got all of them out. And he's like, okay, I can receive that. That part of the conversation, I'm fine with, okay? Communicate. But then she asks him, is there anything that you think that I could be better on? We see him say, yes, give me a kiss. What? What? I'm sorry, it's giving me a little bit of a migraine. What do you mean? What do you mean, give me a kiss? Why are you not being direct with her? But he explains a little bit of why he wasn't being direct, but this was the opportunity. She quite literally asked you, is there anything else that I can work on? Do I think she would have been receptive to that in that current moment? No, I still think that things would have switched immediately. Nonetheless, you cannot just exist in this passiveness and avoidant space just to appease her, because then you end up in the situation where Chris is in the following episode, where he's being saved and doesn't want to be. He doesn't even want to be in this relationship anymore. And anyways, I said the night JD said it. You like to down it. You like to down it. Like, he wasn't wrong though, because that their conversation started with Huda telling him, we lost the challenge because of you. I had to lead things. Huda does sort of try to dominate over her partners. And I don't know if she wants somebody to be like super, super firm with her and be like, shut the fuck up. You're not going to talk to me like that. But then you're in the territory of a partner where you both disrespect each other and it's very toxic. So I don't know if she's looking for a guy who, quote unquote, doesn't let her walk all over them, and she's looking to be really put in her place, because seemingly when we see that try to happen, it doesn't land well. That's why I think that Huda is used to existing in these high highs, low lows of her relationships and this toxic communication. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. Now, Iris has a conversation with Pepe about how she wants 5 kids, basically so she can live vicariously through each of them. And she was like, that is such a good reason. She says to her own self as she's saying it, first of all, Iris, that's a horrible reason. Basically, it was to the effect of like, you get to do over your life with your kids and see different outcomes. That's quite literally probably the worst reason you can have kids. That's how you give your kids trauma. That's how you project this sense of anxiety onto your kids. Going back really quick, because I'm seeing a note at the top of my thing. This episode started with Huda and Alandria having a conversation where Huda was like, are you attracted to Nick or something? And Alandria's like, were you not there? Did you not see that I kissed him the first day? The first day? Yeah. Open up. Yep. I've always been attracted to him. I've always been attracted to him. I know that you're very focused on your journey, but we've always been attracted to each other. So Iris and Pepe make out after their conversation about how they would like 5 kids, or how Iris would like 5 kids. I would be willing to bet that TJ in his Republican group chat is probably not saying very kind things about Iris at this time. That would just be a guess. A guess if I had access to TJ's phone. Maybe not publicly, I hope not, but that was just my first thought. But her friends, they'll have her. Now, Amaya and Brian, during this parenting experience, they're very type B parents, very hands off, left the baby in the sun, almost could have melted the plastic on the baby. Amaya doesn't really care if Brian does everything perfectly. She's more or less just wants to be a fun, cool mom. She talks about this. Brian talks about how he wants a partner that keeps him young. So Amaya's sort of offering that. Nick has a conversation with Ace, and Shelly has a conversation with Alandria, where they basically are both like, What's tea? What's going on? Give me the scoop. Tell me what's happening. And Nick tells Ace that he had full body tingles in bed with Alandria last night, especially when she backed up the booty just a little bit and they were cuddling, and that he was expecting things like to be platonic, although there's attraction there, but he felt a different type of way, a different type of sensation in bed last night with Alandria. Meanwhile, Shelly and Alandria are having a conversation together, and she's talking about how she is leaning into this experience with Nick, how the attraction is there. Now, I wish we got to see even more of Ace and Shelly during this parenting challenge because it sounds like they had each other stressed out. We got to see bits and pieces, but this is when I wish sometimes it was like the Big Brother house. Like, I wish I got to see even more of that because even in post conversations, people were like, Shelly, you were stressing Ace out, and that's what was going on there. But anyway, Shelly and Ace band together to support Nicolandria. Who knew that Ace was going to be front runner of the Nicolandria campaign? I could have guessed it, to be honest with you. What people hate about him for being messy, I've enjoyed. And if you're messy, you're going to enjoy them together as a couple. Also, you see the chemistry. He said he loves Alandria. Let's stop wasting time. He was never that excited for Nick to be paired up with Sierra, and that is a fact, okay? But they also band together over their hatred of Marcel, Nick and Alandria's baby. They cannot stand Nick and Alandria's baby. They say Nick and Alandria's baby is bad. Meanwhile, we barely see Nick and Alandria's baby cry, but we also barely see Taylor and Clark interact with their baby, and somehow they won this challenge. Like, spoiler, they won this challenge. Now, Nick and Alandria have a conversation, and he asks her the dumbest question I've ever heard. Wait for it, because it's not going to be the first thing that pops into mind or the second thing. He says, would you ever want to be a single mom? Like, I guess that's not the dumbest question. Let me rephrase, because I do know that some women are just feel that they feel passionate about being a mom. They feel like that is their purpose. They want to be a mother. They'll take things on by themselves, because what they really want is to be a mother. So I totally get that. Totally get that. But Alandria was raised by a single mom. And as far as just wanting to do the journey by herself, she's like, no, I would if I had to, but that's certainly not what I want. Now, I think Nick asked this as an avenue so that he could say that he has a desire to be a single dad. Like, I think he was really setting it up with hopes that he could throw in the fact that before he got here to the show, he was looking up how to adopt a child of his own by himself. And he talks about how he wouldn't love to be a single dad. He would just really wants to have a kid and a little buddy to travel around with them. They also talk about, on the topic of traveling, that they've both been to Thailand. We know this, or I know this, because I've been on Alandria's Instagram. I didn't know that Nick went there, but I think he's a traveling nurse. Somebody comment that below. I think he's a traveling nurse. Now, Ace and Shelly have a conversation, and he lets Shelly know, I'm not feeling complimented enough by you, especially today on parenting day. I've been doing the job. I've been keeping the twins happy. I have them in their bonnets. I have them in the do-rag. Where's the appreciation? This is a lot of work. I have them color coordinated. Our babies look a certain way. I need some more appreciation. And Shelly receives this, and she ends up planning a very sweet date for him. And she sets up s'mores at the fire pit. Her bestie Alandria helps her get things all prepared, because who else to help her do a romantic gesture but her bestie? They take over the chocolates, the marshmallows. Shelly, I don't think has ever made a s'more. I'm like, what? First time making a s'more, but it was adorable. Adorable. And if she knew how to make a s'more, but she let Ace show her, 10 out of 10 flirting, okay? So she took the time to set up a date. It was sweet. She used the resources that they had. Fuck you to the producers. Yeah, you get the Band-Aid. No date? Ugh. Who did we watch go on a date this season? Nick and Sierra. She got sent home the next episode. We'd never really believed in their connection anyways. Huda and Jeremiah, who split up. Wow. You guys suck. Anyways, back to Shelly and Ace's date. This was adorable. He shows her how to make a s'more. This is, put it in a Netflix movie, put it in a rom-com. Adorable. Their conversations, the way that they compliment each other, their infatuation. Fuck anybody who's like, I just don't like them and I don't want them to go to the finale. I don't like you. I don't like you, okay? Because you know what? As someone who was critical of Ace, look how many notes I have, okay? I have tons of notes. I've used half a notebook. As someone who was critical of Ace, I came to the realization about 15 episodes through the season, maybe less, that Ace wasn't running things. He wasn't running things. Ace has a strong opinion. He's strong in his convictions. He says what he's thinking. And other guys who don't feel comfortable doing that gravitate to him. It doesn't matter that he's 22. It doesn't matter that he's 5'8". It doesn't matter, okay? He would say what he said, which is why he had that conversation with Austin where he said, at a whopping 6'5", I still stand taller than you because I say things with my chest. And he's been number one romance. Number one. Thinking of the effort, putting in the effort, thinking up cute dates, even helping the other guys think up cute dates. He's been infatuated with Shelly from day one. Do I think that he had a vision of how their journey should go? Or do I think that he potentially was told by producers what to do? Yes, but they should absolutely be in the finale. And I don't think that they know each other. I don't believe that. But if they do, then guess what? Don't give a fuck, honestly. Honestly, don't give a fuck. So anyways, Ace tells Shelly that this takes him back to being in his childhood. This was so cute. This takes him back to being in his childhood with his mom, his brother, some of the best times that he's ever had. I cried. I'm going to be honest. That made me cry. I love that he's being so vulnerable with her. And then he says in his confessional, the way that Shelly sees me and the way that Shelly does things to make me feel special just makes me want to give Shelly everything I've got. You have no idea. You have no idea. That does something for me. Yes. Jesus. Cry again. So anyways, I'm happy for them. Okay. Now, Taylor and Clark won the challenge, as I said. Spoiler, I have no idea how because we barely saw them, but good for them. Good for them. Nick and Alandria did pass. Huda and Chris passed. Brian and Amaya failed. And so did Shelly and Ace. Shelly and Ace, great couple, bad parents. You guys have time to work on it and get it down. Don't worry. Now, Chris says in his confessional at some point that Huda is bossy. Again, this needs to be brought to her. I also want to point out that in this episode, we can see that Clark and Alandria are getting along. Like I see moments when they're in the background having a laugh. Like Alandria is, nobody can say that she's a mean girl. I don't care what anybody says because she's not. And Clark hasn't been either. The two of them are operating and going around this experience, this awkward thing, as best as they can. I think at the end of episode 31, the Islanders get a text that they can send someone to the Hideaway. And I don't know why Shelly and Ace weren't sent to the Hideaway. Maybe that's just not their vibe. But Brian and Amaya were sent to the Hideaway. Which brings episode 32. Episode 32 starts with Brian and Amaya in the Hideaway, having a good time. She's got her pink tights on. And Clark is asking Taylor what he wants to do at his wedding. He would like to give everybody a cowboy hat, make sure that they're wearing one at the wedding. I'm like, Taylor, those are kind of expensive. And she wants to do a boudoir photo shoot. Meanwhile, Taylor's feeling ready to close things off. Listen, I'm happy that they're closing things off before they go home. I'm happy for them. Like, listen, I still hate what Taylor did to Alandria. You led her on. It's kind of triggering to see you be able to give Clark all of the things that Alandria was asking for and really play in her face. So I'm glad that you guys have a strong enough connection. Hopefully it'll last on the outside of the villa, but I'm quite literally glad that this doesn't have to be shoved down Alandria's throat anymore. I'm glad. Okay. But we don't get there until the end of the episode, so I know that I'm skipping forward a little bit. I'm sorry, but if you're watching this, you already know the results of last night's episode, right? Right. Okay. Now, Chris is having a conversation with Huda, and every word he is giving her an And he said that he's just mellow today. And this was a strange interaction because it went from to Huda said, like she was like, "Do you like me?" And he was like, "No, I really like you." And she was like, "Ugh," like, "Let me throw up." I don't know if it's that response, like rejecting the like basic kindness that he gave her after being sort of short, or I don't know what was going on there. But he says, "You can throw up in my mouth." And then Huda takes it to, "Don't ever say that. Don't you ever say that again." And it gets contentious. Like Chris stands up, does like a like a fake yawn, and then leaves the premise. And I'm like, tell her that she was being argumentative. Tell her that you're tired of her telling you what to do. Like, just be honest about how that made you feel in that moment. But alas, we don't, right? Now, Brian and Amaya are in the hot tub. I'm going to skip over their experience. I think they had sex. I think that they ate that kitty in the hideaway. Ate that kitty in the hideaway. I'm pretty sure that that's what they did. Okay? Good for them. Now, before bed, everybody's getting ready for bed. Chris is in the bathroom talking to the guys, and now he's talking about Huda. And this is what I'm saying, like, talk to her face. Like, talk to her. Talk to her. And he says that she is not about kissing him unless there's no one around. Mind you, we know that they had sex. I wonder if the other islanders know that they had sex, because as far as the bedroom being a private area, traditionally, yeah. At home, back home, here where you're in the bedroom and everybody can hear each other, not so much. Not so much. Now, it's this episode that it looks like Iris. I think I was mistaken. I don't think Iris and Pepe had sex in episode 31. I think it's episode 32. Or at least that's the way that it makes it look throughout what we see in the middle of the night. This was the first episode that I realized as well. Do they have windows in the bedroom? Because are they woken up every single morning by that fluorescent lighting? If so, thinking back to prior seasons where people would wake up with their sunglasses on, and I was like, what are they doing? I now am understanding that, because that would be absolutely brutal. That would put me in a bad mood virtually every day. Now, Ace is downstairs. He's always, for 32 episodes, has been one of the first people to go downstairs in the morning, start cooking breakfast, and he tells the guys that he's feeling happy. Shelly went above and beyond with their date. Shelly, listen, he thinks that's above and beyond. And I mean, it is, considering those are the resources, but like, this is going to be a great relationship. Some birthdays, some balloons for the birthday, a little cake that you make. Just make him a dinner. He'll be happy. He'll be happy. I mean, a trip somewhere, that would be above and beyond. So I like that. I love a man that's uncomplicated, easy to please. If you're going to have a big social media presence, which is never preferable, then you better at least be easy to please and really appreciative and obsessed with me. This is where I said, it was interesting to see. Now, Taylor, Alandria, Clark, Shelly, they're all sitting around and they're able to have a conversation, just chilling, talking about how stressed out Ace was with Chase and Apollo, but because of Shelly. Like, everybody agreed that it was because of Shelly, and I would like to see that more. I don't believe it. I'm going to take Shelly's side on this. I don't believe it. Now, at this moment, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be an honest reviewer. At this moment, seeing them sit together, I did start to think, oh, like, should Taylor and Clark have stayed? Chris and Huda need to go home. I've been saying that, but maybe they should have gone home first. I don't know. As much as I want to protect Alandria and not have her have to just have that thrown in her face, simultaneously, I was like, oh my God, you guys are able to sit together. Let me know what you guys thought at that part of the episode in the comments. As we know, Alandria and Shelly up here in terms of priority, okay? Now the men go and play basketball, and they play 3-on-3, while the girls stay back home and play some sort of like would you rather game. At Ace, Pepe, and Brian are on one team, and Nick, Chris, and Taylor are on another team. Pepe had some trash talk. And so did Nick. The trash talk with Nick started before he even left the villa. Okay, they play basketball, whatever. I'm skipping over that. I think they did this because they have two professional basketball players on the season this year, or maybe it's because Chris had a dream and maybe his dream quite literally came to fruition that he got to play ball. I'm not sure. What I do know is when they finished playing ball, that was definitely a small ad for Pepsi just thrown in randomly, because why would you be drinking Pepsi after playing basketball? I could see Gatorade, I could see Powerade, I could see electrolytes, a water, Propel. A Pepsi? A Pepsi? Taylor, meanwhile, is giving Nick advice, encouraging him to keep doing the small things. I don't know. What did you guys think about Taylor offering advice? I'm like, so you did know what to do and you just didn't do any of those things? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Simultaneously back at the villa, Alandria is wondering if the friends to lovers is her journey. Huda is trying to convince the girls that things are going easy with Chris, things are perfect, that they have great communication. Everybody's just kind of sitting there in silence, just kind of letting her have that. Meanwhile, Chris is telling the girls that Huda can be combative and defensive, and there are tons of things that he likes about her, but those things, he's trying to learn that he can't be avoidant with her if he wants things to change. Basically, in this conversation, Chris decided that he needed to stand up for himself, and then he attempts to do so when he gets back to the villa. And I think that it's more about that in the future conversation they have and less about the actual kissing. Like, I think he's just at the point where he's like, I'm going to stand up for myself on one of these stupid issues that she has or that I feel like is stupid. So this is the one. This is the one. And I get that, to be honest. I really do. I get that. Now, Taylor talks about how this is a different side brought out of him with Clark. He's not the type of person who's typically all over somebody. And it's like, well, then honestly, I'm back to feeling how I was feeling before. That's a perfect time to send you guys home. You guys can have that connection on the outside. Perfect time. When the guys come back, Ace is hobbling in, and Shelly goes and gets him, puts her arm around him. They're adorable. Iris is sitting on Pepe's lap as they come back. That was interesting. And Taylor's deciding that he's going to ask Clark to be exclusive with a cheer. Because she was a cheerleader, he wants to ask her to close things off, and he's involving the other guys to do it. I mean, I know that they're not together, Alandria and Taylor, but if I'm being honest, and this might make me toxic, this might be my toxic moment, I would feel like a little I just would feel a little odd about Taylor asking someone to be his girlfriend right in front of me after we spent the first part of my journey there. And then all of a sudden you can commit and close things off after 5-6 days. I don't know. Alandria, we solved it for you, okay? You won't have to watch this anymore. You won't have to watch this anymore. Okay? Also, the way that Taylor feels no shame to pursue Clark as heavily as he is right in front of Alandria and have her watch is how I need Alandria to move with Nick. Doesn't matter if Sierra's at home watching. Doesn't matter if Taylor's at home watching. Move. 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 So Chris tries to have a conversation with Huda, and basically every time that he starts to talk, she cuts him off. He starts to talk, she cuts him off. He's asking her, why is it that you can have sex with me and be intimate with me, but you don't want to kiss me, even a cheek kiss out here and without looking around to see other people? I understand what he's saying. He's saying What's the difference between us having sex and being intimate in a room where everybody is still at? It's not like they're not in that room with us. Everybody is still there. It's just dark versus acknowledging our relationship in broad daylight. I think it's sort of like you feel emboldened enough and you feel it's okay to scream at me or yell at me or put me in my place in front of this villa, but you don't want to come and do anything positive for me, like no affection. That's kind of twisted. Like, you can put me in my place publicly, but you can't give me any affection unless it's in private. I just think that's a little bit strange. It also feels a little bit like, so do you just want to fuck me? Do you just think my purpose is to have sex with you? And because of the like racial nuances of their coupling, that's strange, Huda. Like, it just feels a bit off. And she's trying to say that because of her relationship with Jeremiah, because her relationship was picked apart by the villa, because of showing him affection in front of people, that she just doesn't want to have that same interaction. And while I understand that, you're still doing the same things. Like, you were intimate with Jeremiah. Like, I'm just confused. I'm just at a loss. And when Chris said that I don't think I'll ever understand where she's coming from, I agree. Now, Chris pulls Amaya after this conversation, I guess because he wants a woman's opinion. I don't know who he should have pulled, but he shouldn't have pulled Amaya. Okay, because Amaya was basically like, I think that Huda's defending herself. You're not tripping, but the two of you, you'll be okay. Also, we already know that that's Huda's least favorite thing, is pulling another woman to talk about it. But Amaya's her close friend, so she's gonna defend Huda, and she's not gonna give like that was stupid. So anyways, Alandria, I guess that she's happy for Taylor. She thought about how their relationship would look. She acknowledged the fact that he's in vet school. He has 3 years left of vet school. They were going to be long distance. So she was like, honestly, me and Taylor, I just wasn't right for him, and he wasn't right for me. We weren't each other's person. Now, Maya pulls Huda to the side and tells her what Chris said. Like, she's like, Chris feels a little bit confused because it feels like maybe you're ashamed to kiss him. And she tells Amaya, it's not that at all. It's really just that I don't want to repeat the relationship that I had with Jeremiah. And she's like, okay, well, you know, like, I think that he needs to know that. Chris is done. Chris is done. Chris is tapped. Do I think they're gonna make it? Yeah, because of Huda's fans. I do think so. So now they go to the fire pit at the end of episode 32, and we're receiving the votes from America on the couples with the most votes and couples with the fewest votes as being our favorite couples. They start this segment with, this will happen in no particular order. So instead of reading it in the order that they did, I'm going to put it in order for you. Safe couples: Shelly and Ace, Nick and Alandria, Amaya and Brian, Iris and Pepe. The bottom couples: Huda and Chris, Taylor and Clark. Who should have gone home? Huda and Chris. Chris's face said he was thinking, what? The way Huda reacted when Jeremiah was coupled up with Iris. What? Why am I still here? Why am I still here? Meanwhile, Iris and Pepe are whispering to each other. They just had a bad talk as they just got saved. And Huda, when she sits down, she tries to grab Chris's hand, and she winks at her friends like, it'll be okay. It'll be fine. We're good. We're good. No, you're not. No, you're not. He has a hood-ache. He has a hood-ache. You gave him a headache. You gave him a headache. Now, Taylor and Clark, they end up going home. Alandria, she's a great woman. She walked out of her way by. She's like, I love you. Okay. She's better than me. Okay. I do feel a little bad because now that I can see everyone can have a friendship, I would much rather have had Huda and Chris go home. Go home. That's how the episode ends. Ace stands to the side, waiting to say his goodbyes to Taylor. I feel bad that their friend is leaving the villa. Again, though, it's not Friendship Island. It's not Friendship Island. I'm going to end with this. I'm voting Nick and Alandria to win. I'm also going to vote Shelly and Ace because I'm going to have my boyfriend download the app and vote from his phone. Okay. So I'm voting Nick and Alandria. I'm voting Shelly and Ace. If you're voting for Chris and Huda to win, that's insane. Like they literally just coupled up. He doesn't like her. If you're voting for Brian and Amaya to win, I like Amaya, so I understand that. I'm not sold on Brian yet, even though I think I said that in a prior episode, I'm just not sold on Brian yet. You can't erase the fact from my mind that everybody there now knows that Amaya is one of America's favorites. That can't be erased from my mind, and we see people moving differently. Now, let me end with Janae did an episode with Kiki Palmer the other day. I'm going to be recording a recap of that. I'll probably post it to my TikTok. I might get on and do like a short recap for YouTube. I do believe that there wasn't that much new things we learned, but if you haven't listened to the episode yet, if this is how you're learning about that, I do recommend that you listen to it. It was a good episode. I love hearing from Janae. I also am going to be interviewing today, July 9th. I'm going to be interviewing Marita from The Ultimatum Queer Love. If you watch The Ultimatum Queer Love, get ready to tune in. I have so much stuff to talk about with Marita. I think that this episode is going to be tons of tea. I'm going to find out timeline, receipts. No, but I want to find out about her and Ashley's relationship and get some context on that. We have exactly 4 days left until Love Island is done. One of my good friends is coming this weekend to watch the episode before the finale with me. We're going to watch it. We're going to have a snack night. Everybody let me know in the comments how you're going to watch the finale, who you're celebrating with, who you're voting for, and have a great day. Bye.